What's going on, Playdate community? Welcome back to another tutorial. My name is Franchovy and I will be teaching you how to make a game, make your game, because this game, let me remind you guys, is all about you. You need to be dropping down in the comments what you want in this game, what you want to do next, and we're going to build it together, okay? So I am here in this tutorial number 3 to build your game. So let's jump right into it. For today, we're going to be doing a little bit of cleanup and we're going to add a menu to our game, okay? Boring, I know, but necessary, guys. If your game doesn't have a menu, feels weird, feels awkward, you got to have a menu, guys, all right? So first thing, up till now, we've been putting everything inside main.lua. Now, we've got less than 50 lines, not really a big deal, but as soon as you start adding more stuff, like for example, a menu, all of a sudden your main.lua becomes like a clown juggling 100 different balls. Usually you want to stick to one file, one thing, okay? So, you know, your main.lua just is like the car, okay? You've got one car and it moves, you know? But as soon as you've got like, okay, what's the color of my car? You're not talking about main.lua anymore. You're taking care of the paint, you know, the paint color or whatever. Terrible analogy. Let's just get started, guys. So first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to create a new folder in your project, okay? If you've got everything open since the last tutorial, you can jump into the source, click new folder, and we're going to name it sprites, because the first file that we're going to create is called player.lua. Now, our player is a spaceship, so if you wanted to, you could call it spaceship or ship or whatever you want, but in this case, we're just going to name it player because that's also valid, so let's just run with that. And then basically we need to import a bunch of stuff from main.lua into spaceship. This thing is moving down again. Hold on. So we're going to move code over from this main.lua into player.lua. Now, let me teach you guys real quickly the file system that I like to use. Source is going to be your parent folder with all the stuff inside. And then basically I like to make one file for each folder inside source. So here we've got assets. We don't need to make an assets folder just yet. We're going to get to that later. Sorry, a file that talks about that assets. But we're sprites, we're going to do it. So we're going to create a new file at the level of source. And we're going to call it sprites. And you can tell that file system doesn't like it. Sprites.lua. And in here we're going to do import sprites / player. You don't need to say player.lua, just / player. Then from main, underneath corelibs.object, and I like to leave a little space in between those two, you're going to do import sprites. There we go. So the difference between this top level one and the one under is that the top level one is actually the Playdate libraries or external libraries, and then the bottom one is actually your file system, like your own project. So keep those separated a little bit. And the reason I like to do it that way with a separate file is because it's actually much cleaner. You don't need to import 1,000 things in your main.lua. You just need to make sure that every folder is being imported. Meanwhile, sprites.lua will take care of importing every file inside the folder sprites.lua. So nice and simple, separation of concerns. Let's move our logic over. So first thing we're going to do is copy and paste. We're going to do it bit by bit. So we're going to copy these first two lines, my sprite image and my sprite. Now, just to get into the habit, go into player.lua. We're going to type in local gfx, open bracket, const, close bracket, space equals, playdate.graphics. Okay? And then just for, yeah, we're good. And then we can paste those two lines. Now, we're going to do one thing that's a bit different from what we were doing before. Before, we were creating a sprite object directly from the Playdate library. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to use a class. And so classes basically are like copying over a blueprint for that class, I mean, whatever you're about to do. So let me show you guys how it's done. You type in class, open parentheses, and then you name your class. So we're going to call it player. So in quotes, player. And then at the end of the parentheses, you're going to do dot extends. And then here you're going to say gfx.sprite. Now what that does is that it takes the gfx.sprite blueprint, which is basically just a table with some functions inside, and it makes sure that player, which is now a table that you're able to call, and we're gonna use it, player actually has those same functions. Guys, so we've got this player class, and as you can see, it has a few different things. It has a class name, class table, whatever that is, and a super. So super is basically the blueprint that you're inheriting. So in this case, the super is actually going to point directly to gfx.sprite. And the thing is that this player, let's go into the debug console and type in print player.add, for example, and you can see that it says, oh, this is a C function. Now that C function is actually the same as if you said gfx.sprite.add. Same C function. You can literally like equality test this, and I'm pretty sure it's literally the same. Yeah, it's literally the same one, guys. So Lua has some smart things under the hood that we'll get into the future. But basically, I mean, Lua knows that it needs to look at this blueprint parent class in order to find the things that it's looking for. So if you're telling player .init or player.add or player .whatever, if you haven't actually defined that, then it's just going to look at the super class and see whether you've defined anything for it. But in our case, we're actually going to override two functions, which are pretty simple. We're going to do function player colon init, no arguments, open close parentheses, and then end. You can just add the end of the function there. And this one is going to be basically create the class. Okay, like create the player. Then we're going to do another one, which is function player colon update. And then here it's going to be like update every frame. So it's going to take care of moving the player and etc. So let's reuse some of the lines that we already imported. So we've got local mysprite image. We're going to rename that to, this is the naming convention that I use, image sprite player. So you start with what is it? It's an image. What is it an image of? The sprite, and then the player. So I mean, you guys will get the hang of it. And then my sprite, we no longer need this anymore. However, we do need to tell the player to initialize with this image. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say player.super. That's the same as saying gfx.sprite, but we're just going to stick to this class naming. And then we're going to say init. First argument, we're going to pass the hidden argument that we have right here, which is self. Now, just for context, player colon init is the same as saying player.init with the first argument self. Literally the same. You can write this if you want to. But just to stick with this object-oriented approach, we're going to use the colon. And we're going to pass this hidden argument that gets passed under the hood into init for the superclass. Second argument is your image. And now you might be asking, why is that? So here we've got the Playdate SDK inside Playdate. Make sure to have this open at all times when you're debugging, of course. Don't need to have it open at dinner unless you're really, passionate. We've all been there. Here you can do sprite dot new. And you can see that here you've got an example where the sprite.new is being passed an image. So that's how you know, yeah, you're seeing it a bunch of times. Simplest way to create a sprite is using sprite.new. Now we're going directly with the init, which means that you just put the parentheses. You don't need to say .new, but it comes down to the same thing. And basically you can pass in an image or a tile map in there. And simple enough. But anyways, this image sprite player is going to go right there. Okay, so image sprite player, we can get rid of this print statement. And so what we've done now is we've actually created our sprite. Now there's a bit more stuff in the main.lua that we've got to handle. So we've got add, move to, and then this velocity function. So we're going to copy those lines and we're going to go back here. I'm going to paste them inside the init after the super.init. And now what I like to do is I like to keep add out of the sprite class, so that basically the parent, whoever's creating that sprite, also has to manage whether it's on the scene or not. The move to, we can keep it in here, and we're going to replace my sprite with self colon move to, and then we're going to say, so rather than having it inside this table, just to make it a little bit faster, we're going to keep velocity as a local. So we're going to say local velocity equals 0 above player colon init. So that's going to keep track of the velocity. And just for cleanliness, I'm also going to add underneath the self colon move to, I'm going to add velocity equals 0 there. That just ensures that because this velocity that's above right here gets persisted, so even if you delete your player, you're still going to have that velocity number. It basically will get reset every time you create a new player. So just to be a little bit cleaner, you know, just be clean, guys. Just be clean. All right. Then we've got our Playdate.update function. So sprite.update needs to stay here because it's like the entire sprite library that gets updated there. Now, everything from this point on, we can actually just cut it. I'm also going to, while I'm at it, I'm going to delete these other lines. We're going to get back to sprite colon add and delete the image and the sprite that was right above. Go into player.lua, and we're going to drop in this entire, just, you know, this big bunch of lines that we just copied. Now, the first thing I'm going to do inside player.update is actually player.super.update, and again, pass in self. Now, the reason you can't do colon update like this is because in Lua, when you do a colon, you actually pass the same object that's calling. So what would happen is that it wouldn't be the self.update. You're actually calling a different function than self.update, because self.update is this one. You're calling the super, so it's a slightly different function because it doesn't have this code inside. And you need to pass itself, but if you keep a colon right here, then basically you're passing in player.super. You're doing this, which is wrong. You don't want to do that. You want to pass in the instance of the object, not the blueprint itself. So you got to do player.super.update and pass in self. Second thing, we've got the prank position, guys. So you got to set the prank position, and then we're going to say self colon set rotation. So we're setting the rotation of the sprite. Then we've got playdate button is pressed. That's fine. We're going to remove my sprite before the dot velocity. So we're just going to say velocity equals 5 or velocity equals 0. And then this stuff is fine. We've got some more prank positions. Then we've got, again, velocity. Let's remove my sprite there. Then instead of move by, we're going to tell the self to move by. So self move by v, y, and x. And then basically from this point on, you can just replace, do a control F, my sprite. I don't know if, nope. And then type in self and just replace every instance right there. Boom. You got it. So that looks like it, actually. Looks like we've managed everything. Now, there is one thing that we're missing. I don't know why. This is kind of weird, but Playdate, you need, if you're going to create a class for your sprite, then you actually need to import. So we're back in the main.lua now. Import corelibs/sprites. So do that on the second line after object. And we should be good to go. Now let's run and let's see whether everything is working as... Nope, we're missing our sprite. That's normal. It's because we have it commented out here. So, but you're no errors, okay? Step by step, guys. We're going to create your player. So we're going to create the player. So we're going to go above the init function. We're going to say local player equals, and then so it's lowercase p, and now capital P player open close parentheses. Now what you're doing here is that you're actually calling init. Just by doing the parentheses, you're calling init. So it's going to call the function that we defined inside the player class. And then from the init, the main.lua init function, you're going to call player::add. And that's going to add it to the scene. Now, Once it's added to the scene, sprite.update, as I told you, manages every sprite. Once it's added to the scene, sprite.update is going to call update on your player. So we don't need to call player.update. Now let's just restart that. And we've got our spaceship, everybody. Congratulations, we're back to the starting point. Woo! Yeah! All right. So, what now? We've got a really clean main.lua. Literally less than 20 lines, guys. If you can keep your project, if you can keep every file in your project less than 20 lines, you become programming god, okay? So, no, don't do that. You'll do it later, okay? Right now, you can stick with a few hundred, not more than 500, I would recommend. So, we're going to create a menu now, because menus are cool, and everyone should love menus, because they give you cool things like options. Go into source, new file. So you're creating at the source level, not the sprites level. And you're going to create menu, type in menu.lua. So this is going to be our file where we handle menu type stuff. And we're just, for now, going to draw some text, okay? So we're going to draw like a title, and we're going to draw a button that says press A to start. So the easiest way to do that is basically create sprite. No, wait, hold on. Sprite with text. Oh, I'm literally looking at it right now. Okay. So again, every file, local gfx const equals playdate.graphics. Okay, so we're going to do gfx.sprite. Wait, is that right? Yes, sprite with text. So we're gonna temporarily name this game Spaceship. Now, guys, serious, hide the screen. This game is your game, all right? So I want everybody for today to drop a name suggestion down in the comments and upvote whatever name you like best, okay? Rules: no racism, no alienism, okay? No racism against aliens. And it's got to be something fun, okay? Just name it something fun, creative. That's going to be this game, okay? And I'm sure that the title of this game is going to just inspire us to make the best game for Playdate ever, all right? So, your game, drop it in the comments what you want this to be named, and let the upvote battle begin. So, back to the game. Spaceships. Sorry. Ooh, I like the plural there. Spaceships. That's cool. I'm gonna keep that. Max width. I'm lazy, guys. Let's give it the entire screen size. So 400 and then 240, and we're good. We don't need anything else. We're gonna copy and paste that line, and we're gonna say press A to start! Exclamation mark. And again, just give it the whole screen. Now this is gonna create a sprite and literally like drop it into the void. So we need to capture that. We need to say local sprite title equals first one, and then local sprite, and we're gonna call it button. So we're gonna say local sprite button equals the second one. Now we're gonna add these: sprite title colon add, sprite button colon add. And by the way, can you see that with this naming convention where you say sprite something, it's actually much nicer because you type in sprite and you have access to all the, I mean, you'll see later, guys. You can cut that out. Sprite title, we need to also move them into the right place. So sprite title colon move to, and we're just going to move it to halfway in the screen, which is going to be 200 comma 120, and sprite button colon move to parentheses 200 comma, and we're going to put it a bit below, so 170. And let's make sure that our menu file is actually being imported here. Import underneath sprites, import menu. Sorry, this is in main.lua. You're going to line 5, import menu, okay? After importing menu, you want to import core libs. So do this in the core lib section up above, /graphics. So again, some of these convenience functions, because they're defined in Lua, you need to import them separately to actually be able to use them. It is what it is. So, okay, hit restart. What's happening? Oh yeah, you need to like hard restart your game. If you are adding a new library, it seems like you need to hard restart the game. I don't know, that's my thing. So guys, we do have a spaceships, press A to start, that's been added. So great job there. Now, it's pretty boring, not gonna lie. I've made better titles before. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and make this spaceships title bigger, okay? So this sprite title here, we want it to be bigger and we want it to be bolder, okay? Now, unfortunately, this sprite with text function, lazy people use this function, but actually you can't do much with it. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna actually change gfx.sprite.sprite with text into gfx.sprite.new. And we're just going to remove all the parameters there. So we just have sprite title. Then go down below underneath sprite button, like when you create it, and you're going to say sprite title colon set image, and then we're going to actually create an image for it because basically what this sprite with text function is doing is actually creating an image, drawing text on the image, and then setting the sprite, like creating a sprite with the same dimensions as the image and setting that image. So it's a lot of stuff happening in a very short function, but we're gonna have to go through those steps manually in order to get a bigger and bolder title. So leave that line there, go up above and say local. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna say image sprite title, okay, equals gfx.image.new, and here we're gonna say 400, 240, like the entire screen. And then we can copy and paste the name and do sprite title set image and that thing. So what we're going to do in the middle here is we're going to draw text on the image. So before I do that, I need to teach you guys a little bit of a tip. And this actually comes in very useful if you're doing any kind of like programmatic drawing, so you're not just using images. It's called pop and push. And basically what you're doing is that inside the Playdate, I've got Buggy here, by the way, there's a little Picasso, you know, hanging out in there, and Picasso is constantly drawing on the screen. Now, what you can do, that's like the drawing engine, just, you know, for the smart ones in you that don't like metaphors. So what you can do is that you can take that little Picasso drawing engine and turn him around so that he's not drawing on the screen anymore, and give him another canvas to work on. And you can tell him, okay, I want you to draw some text here. And he draws the text. And then what you can do is that you can take out that image, you know, save it to disk. You can do whatever you want, rotate it, move it around, and then you can draw it back onto the screen as you want to. So basically you can keep like a snapshot of that image using the same drawing engine. And by drawing engine, I mean like the Playdate.draw functions. And so push and pop context, which I'm about to show you right now. So it's literally gfx.push context. And you can see that it takes an image as the parameter. You can say image sprite title. What that does is that it sets the image sprite title as the image that's being drawn to right now. And then basically every draw function you do from here is actually going to draw onto that image. So in order to release that from actually get Picasso drawing on the screen again, you need to pop the context, because if you don't, he's going to draw on that image forever, and that image is never going to be drawn anywhere because you're not popping that image. So yeah, just pop the image, guys. We're going to now draw the text onto this image. Now we want to draw the text in the center of the image, okay? You got an image like this, you're going to draw the text in the middle there. So keep in mind our image is the size of the screen, as we defined right above here. So what we're going to do is that we're going to say gfx.drawText aligned, which allows us to tell the system where we want this text. So the text is going to be spaceship, nice and original. Sorry, did I say spaceships before? It's spaceship now. If you want spaceships, drop it in the comments. And then halfway, so 200, 120, and then the alignment, you're going to say k text alignment, so no Playdate, just k text alignment dot center. So this is drawing text on your screen. So great job. if we run it now, we should see that everything looks the same. Congratulations, everybody. You did it. Now, what we said is that we wanted a bigger and bolder title. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to set the font. So we're going to go up above the drawing functions, and we're going to say gfx.set_font_family, open brackets. And this, I hate this syntax, guys, but it is what it is. gfx.getFont. And then you can pass in a variant, which is basically where we tell it, oh, okay, I want a bold. So you say gfx.font.kvariant bold. So we're just getting the system bold font. We're setting set font family. So we're telling it, okay, draw stuff in bold, please. And so that's going to make our text bold. And then you go into sprite title set image. And what we're going to do, we're going to do a little bit of kung fu over here. We're going to do image sprite title, scaled image, and we're going to pass it 2. So what that's going to do is that instead of passing it the image directly, we're going to scale that image twice into a separate image, and then we're going to pass it into set image. So for now, this works. It's going to do the job. Go ahead and hit restart, and boom, you got your spaceship, everybody. Okay. We got spaceship. Looks great, honestly. We're going to kind of inch that up so that it's a bit more centered. So instead of 120, just change that to 100. So sprite title, move to. And there's one thing that we're missing is that because we're passing in a scaled image, we can actually shrink the size of that image down by half. So we're going to say on line 6 inside image sprite title, we're going to say graphics.image.new, and we're going to give 200 and then 120. And then inside the gfx.draw text aligned, where we tell it spaceship, we're going to say 100, 60. And you remove the comment. And again, nothing changed. It's a bit more centered now. Man, how great does this look, guys? Download your graphics design diploma below, okay? You are now a graphics designer. Oh, God. Okay. Spaceship. Press A to start. So here you can press A, but the menu doesn't go away. So we're going to add a function to remove and hide the menu. So at the bottom of your menu.lua, you're going to do function show menu. Open close brackets, parentheses, and then skip over to the next line and 2 lines and then say end. And then do the same function, and you're going to say hide menu and then end. And just for context, these 2 functions are global functions. So you can call them from wherever you want in the game. That includes like inside your, if the player shoots a bullet, which then hits an enemy, like you could call it from wherever you want, which is also a bad thing because it can get, there's no reason why, like the bullet while being drawn should be able to draw the menu as well or show the menu. But right now we're just going to do it because it's quick and easy and we don't have a system in place for handling menus and games. So we're just going to do it in a real quick way. Sprite title, sprite button, we're going to cut out these 2 lines and we're going to put them inside show menu. Sorry, sprite title.add, sprite button.add. And then inside hide menu, we're going to put the same 2 lines, sprite title, remove. Surprise, surprise. Sprite button, remove. Okay, so we've got show menu, hide menu, and then we're going to go back to main.lua and we're going to call these 2 functions. So we're going to say inside init, we're going to say menu, show. And then before sprite.update, actually, let's just do it after sprite.update. After sprite.update, we're going to say if playdate button just pressed, open parentheses, playdate.k button A, then, and then you say menu, oh, I'm stupid. Wait, what? Hide? Yes, sorry. It's correct. Menu, hide. So Basically, when you press the A button, it'll hide your menu. So let's test that. Oh, guys, I'm stupid. It's show menu, not menu. Show menu, hide menu. You see, like, I'm already thinking object oriented, but we've defined like some pretty crappy global functions. So let's run with the global functions for now because we don't have a system in place, but let's, it's good enough. So spaceship, press A to start. You press A and the menu hides. Congratulations, guys, you got your menu. The last little piece I'm going to add in there just to, deal with all the OCD in the audience right now. Go back into player.lua and we're going to move it to somewhere slightly off, 300 and 160. So just restart the game and yeah, look at that. It's hanging out on the side right there. Press A and your menu disappears and your player starts to move. This is the most basic menu you could ever imagine, but it's going to do the job for now. It's a little bit of polish for your game right there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Keep up with the tutorials. Make sure to drop your suggestions and ideas in the comments below because they really, really are going to affect how this game gets developed. So please, please, please subscribe and drop a comment down below on what you want in this game. Where do you want this game to go? Remember, I am here. I'm Franchovy, and I'm building your game. See you in the next one, everybody. Bye-bye.